The United States, as the world knows, will never start a war. We do not want a war. We do not now expect a war. This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Come on, Samson, come here.
As a rule, it's customary after being in Vietnam that the most vulnerable place for an ambush was always above, not so much from the sides or a frontal attack. Even in a building, you always look up, whether there be rafters or anything like that. So you always, but now I said I'm lucky because I don't have to do my own looking and surveying, because now that I have a service dog, he actually has been taught to go in and clear a room. Now I know where the entrances are. I know where all the windows are. And the safest place is where it's solid, because nobody can bother you where it's solid. That's why the other day when we were at the restaurant, I chose to have the big fireplace behind me. I still, even today, will sit with something solid behind me. I started off life in Boulder, Colorado. My mother was a Southern Ute. My father was an Apache. Rivalry tribes. So it was already deemed through my grandmother that me, the child that was given birth, would not be allowed on the reservation. I used to get a lot of flack from the kids in school because I was brought up in basically an all-white area. My father used to tell me, expect nothing from nobody for being which you are, but become who you are. You know, it's okay that you're Native American, but it's something that you don't want to take on as bragging about as much as if you're asked, don't lie. You are who you are.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
These men are aviation cadets. A short while ago, they too were average American boys from average American families. If you're 17, you can enlist in the Air Corps Reserve. You'll be called to training soon after your 18th birthday.
I was 17. First thing I wanted to do was to join up in defense of my country. I went to an Air Force recruiter, which they happened to be in the shopping center. They were all lined up, Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy, so forth. So I directly went to the Air Force, and the Air Force guy says to me, and this is 1965, you want to join the Air Force? I said, yes, I do. I'm not even going to ask you why. I'm going to just ask you one question first. Are you Native American by any chance? I says, yes, I am. Well, you know, as a Native American, you're not obligated to join the military. I said, yeah, I know. I said, but, you know, with the draft and all. And he says, well, I guess the better way to put it is, you may want the Air Force, But the Air Force doesn't want you. We love Travis Air Force Base. A lot of us. We knew at one of our stops in April Harbor, Guam, that we were directly going to Vietnam. It's a first for a lot of us. We got there at night. During that time, you could smoke on those planes, and we're talking about a prop plane where you got props and the engines running and everything, and everything's a bit noisy, and where everybody's being rowdy because we're pretty nervous, you know. So I mean, we thought about anything and everything to talk about, you know. We're flying. We get to close the windows. We close the shades. The lights are going out. The lights went out. Now, silence, total silence from everyone. If you gotta breathe, breathe quietly. And we did, in fact, held our breath. And the scary moment happened when we heard the actual engines of the airplane stop. Terrifying moments because you're in the air, you know you're gliding, you know you're coming into a whole new dimension, a whole new different lifestyle, and you're going into harm's way now. Your first time battle. And I guess the emotion is something that I will never, ever, ever forget. The lump in my throat, the emptiness in my stomach, a cold sweat. I could feel myself, I wasn't hot, but I could feel my brow dripping. I spent 3.5 tours in Vietnam, and I can tell you, not one day was ever a repeat. Every day was different. And that in and of itself is what keeps you awake. Learning to sleep with one eye open and both ears open, and having a consciousness of what's around you at all times.
I would notice it at night when he was sleeping. He'd toss and turn and make sounds like he was, trying to hurt somebody. And on occasion, he'd try to punch me, and I could tell while he was asleep. And I'd have to shake him awake and then duck to make sure he didn't punch me. I'd ask him what he was dreaming about, and it was usually something war related, where he was fighting off somebody that was attacking him, or he was in a tunnel and somebody was coming at him, trying to hurt him, and he was trying to fight back.
First assignment in Da Nang, I got what was called body count. We had to take the corpses or pieces or parts of corpses, put them in body bags, tag them, and anywhere from 150 to 175 pounds had to be shipped back to the United States. The tags identified the remains, but whose remains really were whose remains. And of course, with the stench of death, everything had to be run pretty smoothly and as fast as you could. So it was a pretty sickening job to do. Here, Samson. He's telling that I'm feeling anxiety. Is why he's here. So, well, I'll be okay. He's okay. I got these. He knows. He knows. He goes, "What's up, Dad?"
As suicide rates rise across the general U.S. population, they are rising even much faster with respect to the veteran population. The CDC says that over 42,000 people committed suicide in 2014, and of those, at least 20 suicides a day were veterans.
this band says Team AmeriVets 22 every day. And it says crisis line 1-800-278-8255, press 1.
About 5 years ago, Jerry had an event that triggered his PTSD. They had given him pain pills, and the pain pills made him have suicidal thoughts. Then they said, okay, now that you're on pain pills that are making you feel bad, we're going to give you antidepressants, which one of the side effects of those was also suicidal thoughts. So we talked for a while, and I said, look, this isn't working. We need to do something else. So we got a puppy, and the puppy was Samson. That was 4 years ago.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, look at there, huh? Ready? Okay, here we go. Out that way, ready? Go get it. Regrets for joining the military. I don't have any regrets of going and fighting a fight that's somewhere else rather than having an enemy come here to fight. So those are the things that it was a positive to go and fight for my country.